Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Breakfast All Day. Alonso and Christy here. It's been another week. Matt is still on sabbatical, and we are, sending him all of our holiday love.
We are. We send him love year round. But these are special, warm and fuzzy holiday greetings.
These have that hint of peppermint.
A little bit of schnapps. So yes, as you can see, if you're watching our show, my Christmas tree is up behind me. Alonso has all kinds of accoutrement from his wide array of collectibles, all his vintage stuff. So it's a winter wonderland.
And Santas and advent calendars and foil bells and all the whole thing.
It's a winter wonderland here. You say we don't have seasons in LA, but you'd be wrong because there's a day we all put up our fake Costco Christmas trees.
That's right. And it's a chilly 55 degrees today. So we're all layering.
I'm wearing a sweater. I'm wearing slippers. Ta-da!
Nice. How flexible you are.
I know, right? It's behind my head. It's very pretzel-like. So also because it's December, we're getting into award season, Alonso's other favorite season, which is award season. And on Monday, the Golden Globe nominations and the Critics' Choice nominations are coming out. Now, the question is, do these things matter?
I mean, look, there is an entire industry of web pundits that is based on handicapping the Oscars, and they love reading a tea leaf. When the New York Film Critics stuff got announced last week, they made the kind of choice that I love, that because it flummoxes all the Oscar pundits, which is they picked Drive My Car as Best Picture, and it's like, what does this mean for the Academy Awards? And it's like,
nothing.
It doesn't matter what it means. That's not why they picked it. That's not why LA Film Critics picks it. Golden Globes and I think to some extent Critics' Choice, on the other hand, do like being part of that awardsy conversation. I don't know why anyone takes them seriously, but they do, and they will inevitably. I think the Golden Globes obviously is in a bit of a weird patch right now. They've had a lot of scandal to deal with. They're not going to be on TV this year. So they are, I'm sure, dog paddling as fast as they can to make sure that they can uphold their relevance even in this year that is a big shift for them, I would imagine.
Yeah, there are various big analytical stories in various publications about, okay, Golden Globe nominations. If you get one, do you actually want it? Like the HFPA, the Hollywood Foreign Press, they have made strides to try to legitimize themselves, diversify themselves, and but still they're more of a joke than ever. And beyond being a joke, they're even worse than that in this town, and that is they are a pariah. And so nobody actually wants to be associated with them. Like, so if you get nominated, let's say you're Rachel Zegler, right? Okay. So we're talking about West Side Story today. Let's say you're Rachel Zegler and you get nominated for Best Actress in a musical or comedy. Like, you're a young up and coming star. She's got a fantastic future ahead of her. What does she do? Let's say you're Nicole Kidman and you're very established, right?
Absolutely.
And revered by folks like the HFPA, and you get nominated for Best Actress in a Comedy for Being the Ricardos, which we're also talking about today. What do?
I'm sure both of these actresses have teams who are currently figuring out just what that's going to look like. I'm sure nobody's going to want to look like an ingrate, but at the same time, there's probably going to be a lot fewer selfies with members of the HFPA than in years past. Will there be a nominee luncheon? I don't know.
It's a tricky tightrope to walk. And then also the Critics' Choice Awards nominations, and they're trying to muscle their way in and usurp the space.
They sense weakness,
right? Both physically and in the ether. They are trying to usurp the space that the HFPA occupied for so long. There's a big article in the LA Times that I just read before I came here about that very thing, and how they used to be called the BFCA, the Broadcast Film Critics Association. Now they're the Critics' Choice Association, and they had actual awards at Barker Hangar in Santa Monica a couple of years ago. Like they are, I think they're trying to get into that Beverly Hilton space, or maybe they have taken over that Beverly Hilton space that the Golden Globes had for so long, and how they're trying to but they are also a giant organization. And according to this article, at least this triple bylined massive takeout on the Critics' Choice Awards, they also have some questions about membership and finances and transparency. And the guy who founded it makes like $367,000 a year or something crazy like that.
Wow.
Yes. When do we set up our film awards?
Yeah, clearly we're in the wrong business. Look, it's funny because, in the history of Los Angeles film critics, like early on, there was a push from some people to like, oh, we should have an award show. We should give these out on television. And there was a whole segment of the group that was like, well, then I'm not interested in that. And I don't want to be a part of that. And eventually they moved it away from, I think they had a couple of years where they all got given out on the Merv Griffin show, but then they moved away from that. And I think there's something to be said for being a critics group that like has a dinner and has the room that people come to, and maybe you might put some of it on the internet or whatever, but like once you start getting into we're creating this packaged piece of entertainment and we're selling commercials and we're doing all this stuff, I think that just opens the door to a lot of stuff that maybe dilutes the integrity of the process. And you start thinking about, well, who do we nominate, who's going to get us ratings? Like, I'm not saying that is what's happening, I'm just saying the it looks like that's what could be happening, and you have to deal with that as an organization.
Well, the one anecdote in this story is about how Critics' Choice had their Best Picture nominees, and then they like went back and they added one of the more recent Star Wars movies for that very reason. Like supposedly they polled their membership to say, hey, how do you guys feel about this? But it looked like a very kind of obvious, like wag the dog thing, like, oh, well, Star Wars will get us ratings. And even the guy who founded the group admits like, I handled that poorly. So
okay, well,
anyway, we have many, many friends who are in this group. I was in this group for like all of a year when I had a TV show. And you and I guess, Alonso, if we wanted to be in it, we could be in it. We broadcast.
I guess. Yeah. No one's reached out to me. I'm in one. I'm good. Like I got my screeners, so I don't need to multitask here.
Same. Also, as you were saying about LA film critics not being on television, like because people go there and they already know they've won when they come to our dinner.
Yes.
There is just like a relaxed, kind of loose, fun, warm vibe to our dinner.
It's not a room full of like,
there's not, you don't have that. You don't have like the camera cutting around your reaction shots with people trying to have frozen smiles on their faces when they lose. Like you get really cool moments that happen because people know they've won, they're loose, and because it's not broadcast.
Exactly.
So I had a lot of fun, with me and my pal Jennifer Lopez had a lot of fun.
At the last LAFCA dinner 2 years ago, your presentee Jennifer Lopez met my presentee Pedro Almodovar for the first time. So that was a moment to witness.
Cool shit like that happens there. And anyway, so that is that. So we are in award season. There's all kinds of stuff you can read about that. Monday, we will have some nominations. Also, AFI announced their top 10 films. Did you see this?
I saw like a headline. I didn't go read the whole thing. I'm still putting my list together, so I'm trying not to get swayed too much. But what do they got?
Oh, did you?
Go ahead. Tell me.
Okay. All right. Well, now I got to look it up.
Oh, sorry. King Richard was on there, right?
Licorice Pizza's on there.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Now I got to find it.
Sorry.
No, I should have my shit together. Of course. Okay. Here, Coda, Don't Look Up, which we're also reviewing today. Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, Tick, Tick, Boom, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story.
Okay. Well, there's maybe 3 titles that you just said that I suspect will be on mine, but that's the fun of this time of year, I suppose.
I think I have 2. 2 of mine are on this list.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to do our top 10 in the beginning of next year. Yes. Right? Isn't that what we decided?
That's sure. Yeah. I mean, I have to do mine for the Wrap and for Maximum Film, but I reserve the right to change my mind in early 2022 after some more catch up occurs,
I need to let myself do that.
Well, because this happens every time. Like all of these movies in the last 4 weeks of the year, they suddenly this onslaught of here's all these foreign films and documentaries and like prestige studio movies that you need to immediately take in and decide what you think about them. It's like, where were you in July, when nothing was happening, or when it was all like summer fun stuff? I think everybody desperately wants to be the last movie that an
Mhm.
awards person sees before they vote, and then somehow that's how you're gonna stick. And it's like, I suppose that strategy has worked enough that they keep doing it, but I find it annoying.
That does not work for me because
No.
I feel annoyed by it, and I also feel like by the time you get to like the last week in December or whatever, you're bringing to such mush.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, sure, if you and I went to Cannes every year, and went to Sundance every year, we'd have seen a lot of this stuff earlier. But as it is, it all comes barreling at us at the end of the year.
Yes. Jussie Smollett was found guilty yesterday of 5 out of the 6 counts against him in staging what he said was a racist, homophobic attack and
Yes.
lying to police about it. Black Lives Matter still stands with him. Don Lemon does not. His attorneys say they're going to appeal. Do you remember this story?
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
it all seemed to go south really fast. Like, it was this horrible incident, and then you very quickly start hearing about, oh wait, he knew the assailants, or
Yeah.
like something. It all didn't pass the smell test very quickly. So
Yeah. January 2019, he said that in downtown Chicago, he told police he'd been attacked by 2 masked assailants who
yes,
hurled racist and anti-gay slurs at him as they hit him, poured a chemical substance on him, and put a rope around his neck. And then as they investigated, people supported him, including
right.
Kamala Harris. And anyway, it turned out that he made it up. So he was convicted on most of the counts, but they're going to appeal that.
Is that a fine, or is there sentencing, or do we know?
He's not been sentenced yet. This just
Okay.
happened. So, okay, now I have to get back to my list of news. I'm not prepared at all today. There's just too much going on. Here's a fun story I like. I will talk about more about this when we get to our Patreon section of our morning here. Florence Pugh posted some stuff on Instagram about the fact that she was on Hawkeye this past week. And it was an Instagram story, and people complained so much about it because they thought it was a spoiler that Instagram made her take it down.
Did she post it before or after the episode dropped?
Good question. I think before, because the episode just came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But if you look at IMDb, we've known all along she was going to be in there at some point. This is not shocking at all. And so she posted a thing saying, this is ridiculous. I've been asked to take down a picture of a TV show that I'm very much on, and I'm really proud to be on, and want to say thank you to everybody who welcomed me onto the set so warmly. And like, it was a totally positive thing. But in our culture where everything is like the word "the" is a spoiler.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, is it Tom Holland who like apparently keeps blurting out plot points when he's not supposed to, so they had to stop telling him anything.
Yeah.
This is a big deal for some folks. I don't know. I did enjoy when she popped up finally on Hawkeye. I got to do my impersonation of the I'm forgetting now, the Saturday Night Live performer who does Meryl Streep. Florence Pugh.
Who does Meryl Streep on SNL?
She did it once on like on an update thing, and she talked about, the young actresses, Florence Pugh. It was, I always think of that when I see her now.
I was like, yay, she's back. Okay, but speaking of Tom Holland,
yes,
he's going to play Fred Astaire in a biopic about Fred Astaire. What is your reservation about this?
Well, okay, the dancing part he can handle, no question. Like that is his thing, and he's very good at it. I mean, the legend of Fred Astaire's first screen test, right?
I don't think I do. Tell me.
The studio notes were: can't act, can't sing, balding, can dance a little. Like that. Those are the notes. Fred Astaire was not like cute in the traditional way, like he had a look to him, and he was very debonair, and obviously he became a film star. But like, Tom Holland is cute. Fred Astaire had like a wholly different shaped head, and I don't know, it's a different look. So not that everybody who plays somebody in a biopic has to be their spitting image, but I'll be curious to see how they convey that this is a guy who was not traditionally handsome by the standards of the day, and nonetheless became a huge star anyway.
Have you seen Tom Holland on the lip sync battle?
Yes.
Have you seen what he did, where he did Singing in
no,
the Rain, and then it
no.
morphed into Umbrella, and he's dressed in like dominatrix gear with lipstick,
Yes.
dancing in
Yes,
water,
yes.
like splashing and pounding the ground.
No
He's
shade
awesome.
at all. No, absolutely. He was Billy Elliot on the West
Right.
End. Like he's unquestionably can
Right.
handle the dancing part of it. But you know, I don't know. I'll be curious to see how it goes. I'm biopics in general. I'm like, you really have to convince me because so many of them suck. But you know, I guess if not him, I don't know who else. So sure.
I mean, right. Who looks like Fred Astaire, but also is an amazing dancer? Like
Well,
who, I guess, is the dancing part the most important part because it's Fred Astaire? Right.
If they cast Tom Holland, they must think it is. I don't know. I mean, it's like when they cast Jennifer Hudson as Aretha Franklin. It's like, you're not lip syncing, you're going to sing this stuff. So we need to have somebody who can do that and also act. I don't know.
Does Renee Zellweger look like Judy Garland?
She did in that movie,
right? Because of prosthetics.
True. Good point. Okay, so
go.
You brought me
she
around.
won an Oscar.
I'm thrilled that Tom Holland is going to play Fred Astaire. I hope they digitally insert a Dust Devil vacuum cleaner as well, just for the full effect.
He's just so darn cute. Okay, there's going to be a Shang-Chi sequel. Did you ever see Shang-Chi?
I did, because it dropped on Disney Plus on Disney Plus Day in November.
Did you like it?
I did very much. Yeah. I still haven't seen Eternals, but I have seen Shang-Chi, and I liked it a lot. So yes, sequel.
Daniel Destin Cretton is back for more of Shang-Chi. He will be directing the sequel. So there is that. But Disney has also removed from its January lineup, at least, the hot and steamy Ben Affleck-Ana de Armas erotic thriller, Deep Water.
Did they make this while they were a thing?
That's how they met. Adrian Lyne directing, like hot and sexy January erotic thriller. And apparently this has already been made once, like many years ago, with Jean-Louis Trintignant and Isabelle Huppert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to see that.
Now, here's the thing. Now, we know what moving a film to January means. I don't know what taking a film out of January means. Yeah. Like, in other words, moving a film to January is a vote of no confidence, basically, because that's where films go to die. Yeah. If you're taking it out of January, does that mean, oh, no, this is too good for January. We want to spotlight it at a better time of year. Not that anything means anything now with the we're still in a pandemic and theatrical releases are confused and complicated. I'm wondering if that means we like this more, or if somewhere now he's embarrassed about this movie because he's got a new lady. I don't know.
I was gonna say, did J-Lo do this? did J-Lo, is that what she was whispering to him in his ear at the Lakers Celtics game this past week
movie.
When they had courtside seats? Like the next day is the announcement that Disney pulls the movie.
Don't know.
Yeah, there is no new release date. They pulled it. This is like a 20th Century Fox movie.
Oh, gotcha.
The Disney, maybe that's part of it too.
TBA.
Like, yeah. So anyway, Deep Water is based on some French story that has already been made into a French film that maybe we should go back and watch.
Adrian Lyne's the one with Diane Lane was a remake of a French movie too.
Was it? That's the last thing. Unfaithful. That's the last thing he made. That was like 2002.
That was his last film, really?
It's time.
Where?
Bring back the smoke machine.
Where have you gone, Adrian Lyne? We missed you.
Yeah, so there is that. Speaking of the Lakers, the trailer for Adam McKay's Showtime Lakers series, which is not on Showtime, it's on HBO. Is Showtime is just what they were referred to. Gotcha. Back in the 80s, Alonso, we had Kareem and Magic and James Worthy. They were the Showtime Lakers, and Kurt Rambis.
So this is basically what we know now is the project that destroyed his friendship with Will Ferrell, right?
It is, right, because the first thing you see John C. Reilly in bed with some beautiful woman in this luxurious mansion, and John C. Reilly is Dr. Buss, which is the role that Will Ferrell wanted to play, and they're trying to get people who actually look like the people that they're playing. And so this is the role that Adam McKay gave to John C. Reilly without telling Will Ferrell. But then John C. Reilly, being the good guy that he is,
did tell Will Ferrell.
Told Will Ferrell, and that was the final straw, and their friendship was deteriorating anyway. Anyway, it's a series. It's a whole series. It's going to be on next year. It's called Winning Time, which is a terrible, terrible title. And it's March of 22. It will be out on HBO Max, all about the fun of the Showtime Lakers. Adrian Brody is Pat Riley. Anyway, so I'm excited for this because this is my childhood.
Sure.
You may not care quite so much. CNN fired Chris Cuomo.
Good.
It had to happen.
How could they not? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
We should remind folks what happened was Chris Cuomo's brother was the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Yes.
And Andrew Cuomo had to resign in shame after multiple sexual harassment allegations and just bad stuff in general. He had this like meteoric rise to nationwide popularity because of his handling of the pandemic in New York.
Mhm.
And then all this shit came out about what an awful person he used to work for. But brother Chris, who was an anchor at CNN, did all kinds of behind the scenes, like investigative work to try to head off, breaking news of the past and try to get to potential witnesses and accusers. Anyway,
Like,
and he said he hadn't done that.
When you look up conflict of interest and all the things you're not supposed to do, that's what Chris Cuomo did.
He had said he hadn't done that, and then emails and texts revealed he had, and so they suspended him, and now he has been fired. Also, Brian Williams signed off last night after 28 years at NBC News. Did you watch 11th Hour ever?
I occasionally, I haven't really watched much TV news just as a self-care measure. Yeah, I mean, Brian Williams, it was that whole weird thing where like the thing that he lied about, and then he like goes away for a while, and then he comes back to MSNBC for a while, and now he retires, and it's like, was this, I don't know if this was a sort of like maintaining the personal brand thing or a running out the clock till pension hit. Like it all seemed very strange that it's like, well, you'll still be on MSNBC, you'll be on NBC, and you'll be on NBC, but our cable wing, and then then you'll retire. I don't know. The
thing is that he's really good, right? That's the problem with when that whole scandal broke about him like making shit up and saying that he was on, in certain places and in certain lines of fire, and the stories get bigger and bigger each time, and it becomes more than an exaggeration. It becomes flat out lying, and that's what took him down in the first place. But then he comes back, and he's an excellent broadcaster, and he's got this great deadpan delivery. And I enjoyed his show, The 11th Hour. But then once things changed in our country, I stopped watching. Like I stopped watching Maddow. We used to watch all that stuff every night, and like I feel a lot better now that I don't.
Yeah, it's a lot, I mean, like I should be on Twitter less, but I definitely not watching TV news has definitely been like
Twitter is like putting your hand on the hot stove though, right? Like the doom scrolling is like putting your hand on the hot stove. It's hard not to do it. Speaking of television that you enjoy, there's a big LA Times piece that Lorraine Ali wrote about GAC.
Yes.
Your favorite channel, which stands for
Great American Country, I think.
It used to be that.
And I don't know what it is now, but I know they've been trying to plug their holiday stuff as Great American Christmas. Yeah, basically, and we've talked about this before, but Bill Abbott, who used to run Hallmark and was the guy who made sure that Hallmark was so white and so straight for so long, got fired after he completely bobbled a thing where a few people got their noses bent out of shape about a TV commercial that had kissing lesbian brides in it. And so went over to GAC, which is partially funded by the Hicks family, who are big Trump supporters. And the whole thing is like, it's safe, family friendly programming. So it's all these dog whistles are basically letting you know it's going to be hella white and absolutely totally straight all the time. And that's their selling point, And the thing is, like, it's an incredibly ineptly put together business deal, because all of their original movies were airing first on like IMDb TV and Peacock. So they weren't even premieres by the time they aired on GAC, and you didn't have to watch them on GAC if you didn't want to watch GAC. And their ratings numbers have been very tiny. Like they don't rate in like the top 150 or whatever. It's literally that kind of thing where it's a 0.0 because the actual viewership is so negligible, at least in the demo. Like if they're
hash marks, it's called hash marks. Yeah.
If they're getting all the like, old grandmas who are like, oh, what am I going to tell my children about these, two guys kissing in a Hallmark movie? If that's your demo, well, advertisers are not interested. They want like women 18 to 49. And in that demo, they're doing quite badly. So, there's been an explosion of Christmas content this year, not just GAC, but like, Discovery Plus and Paramount Plus and Peacock and all these players that hadn't been making Christmas content before are now now doing it because apparently it's a really easy thing to sell ads on, but GAC has not created any kind of foothold for itself yet, and they're gross.
Netflix is so edgy with its gay interracial Christmas romance.
Yes.
Anyway, so there is that couple more things. We can talk about, speaking of Christmas and the war on it.
Yes.
Somebody set the Fox News Channel Christmas tree on fire, which isn't even a tree. It's like a big, like metal, 50-foot high metal structure with stuff wrapped around it that looks tree-like.
I mean, that's awful that it happened. I find it weirdly ironic / hilarious that Fox News's immediate response was for everybody to talk about it being a hate crime, when I would love for somebody who, you know, has the archive of this stuff to dig up all the times when they like poo-pooed hate crime legislation and like the notion that a hate crime should be tried differently. I'm sure they were very harumphy about that back when that phrase was first introduced into the lexicon. So for them to now cower behind it because like, oh, poor them, that's a classic conservative move.
It was a guy who, like an unstable guy. It wasn't like, you know, oh, I hate Fox News Channel.
Oh, he just wanted to set fire to a tree and it happened to be theirs. Okay.
Yeah, he even causing trouble elsewhere in Manhattan, in Midtown Manhattan. So there's that. There's a hilarious, if you have a little bit of time, hilarious, long, very interesting piece in the New Yorker about Jeremy Strong and about his process. Did you read it? I've been
reading references to it, but I haven't read the piece.
It's long. It's the New Yorker. It's long, but it's really interesting because he takes himself so seriously and takes his craft so seriously. And his heroes are like Al Pacino and Dustin Hoffman, like that brand of like, you know, 70s American male actor who like went deep into research, and he'll like wear the clothing of his character and like steal little talismans and like carry them around with him. And like for Succession, which I've never seen, but for Succession, he will only go into the makeup trailer when he knows that nobody else is there because he wants to like highlight his isolation from the rest of the family.
Okay. I'm not a giant fan of the method, but if it works for you, it works for you. You know?
And Adam McKay says that he hasn't realized this is supposed to be a comedy. Like he thinks this is like Hamlet. He thinks this is like
and
serious.
Sometimes that's the best way to play comedy.
So anyway, I hear he's great. Also on Netflix, did you watch the trailer for The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window?
No, someone sent it to me and I thought that was a hilarious title, but
right. So it's like a spoof of The Woman in the Window, right? And it's
all of those like The Girl on the Train and, you know, those woman thrillers, you know.
There's a really funny repeating bit where Kristen Bell is like carrying a casserole dish, like the white like Corningware with the little blue flowers on the side, and like she keeps dropping them, like she's frightened and she drops it and like it falls in slow motion and it shatters like three different times during the course of this trailer as she drops a casserole dish. Anyway,
I hope it's good.
It looks cute.
I in the last week I saw 2 different spoof movies about Hallmark movies, and they were both, I think, would have been better suited as like half-hour specials than full-length films. So, you know.
Lina Wertmüller dead at 93. Last thing I have for you. Please talk about her and why she matters.
The first woman to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Director in the 70s, which means the Academy had been around for a good 40-50 years by that point. So, you know, way to keep up with the times, fellas. But yeah, no, she was a landmark filmmaker. Her films are very political. Her films are very personal. You know, if you've never seen Swept Away, which was terribly remade by Guy Ritchie, you should check that one out. Or Seven Beauties, The Seduction of Mimi, which was also remade. Do you know as what?
No.
The Richard Pryor comedy, Which Way Is Up?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, a remake of The Seduction of Mimi. Okay. Yeah, just an iconoclastic filmmaker known for her white eyeglass frames, but her films were the kind of films that made everybody mad. Like they were political in a way that you could be on the left or the right, or a feminist or not a feminist, and find some bone to pick with them. And I admire that in a filmmaker. And yeah, she was an essential part of late 20th century cinema.
And she was only 5 feet tall.
Wow. All right.
She was very tiny, and she came from this very wealthy Swiss family, and her family wanted her to be a lawyer. Her actual last name is incredibly long, like many names, and she came from like this very aristocratic family, and she wanted to be a shit-stirring filmmaker.
And she was.
That's all I got.
And I think she won an honorary Oscar in the last couple of years.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah, good deal. Just a quick reminder, everybody.
Oh,
Hero
yes.
for Christmas movies. It's on sale now, and it makes a dynamite holiday gift for people in your life who love Hallmark movies or like goofing on them.
And you are on Kelly Clarkson next week, are you not?
Yes. Good luck finding me in the audience, because I insisted on wearing my mask, so they kind of shoved me over to the side, so I'm probably out of camera range the whole time, but I was in the audience. But yeah, the Deck the Hallmark guys are going to be on Kelly Clarkson next Wednesday, December 15th. She holds the book up. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, tune in, and they're very funny.
How will they know that you're smiling, Alonso, when you're wearing a mask?
I'm smizing.
You can't be on TV being healthy and safe. It's a bummer.
Late night TV, you can. Like if you look at like Kimmel or Amber Ruffin, everybody in the audience has a mask on. Daytime TV, nobody has a mask on. It's a weird paradigm.
Well, anyway, congrats.
Thank you. And thanks for watching, everybody. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. A lot of cool shit going down there. Videos like this with no commercial interruption. Our TV recaps. We're currently talking about Hawkeye on Disney Plus and The Great on Hulu. And later this month, we'll be doing the off the menu item that was selected by our subscribers. And so we'll be discussing Ingmar Bergman's Fanny and Alexander, one of my favorite. Yes, it's a Christmas movie. So until next time, bye.